So, for our first segment here on the podcast, we're going to talk about inflation. And this is an issue that has been impacting working poor people since COVID. Um, Before we introduce the article we're going to discuss, I am curious to know how inflation has impacted all of us here on the podcast. Has anybody noticed prices getting higher at the grocery stores? Uh, what about shrinkflation with items getting smaller, but the prices are staying the same? The floor's open.
In Belvedere, New Jersey, which is in the northwest of New Jersey, the price of gas has gone up. Groceries have gone up, um, which are such basic things that it makes an impact.
I completely agree. What have you noticed going up at the grocery store? Anything specific that you're buying that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe? Like eggs, for example. I know that's
Yeah.
something that has like fluctuated since COVID. Like here, you used to be able to get a dozen eggs for under $1 before COVID. And then COVID went up and they were $3, $4. And now they're like starting to settle down.
A
But
dollar? What kind of wonderland are you living in?
Southern Illinois is a very rural, cheap place. At least for eggs, it was.
Here too, it was, and now it's like 6 or 7.
See, here I'm starting to notice it mellow out more in like Southern Illinois, at least with the eggs. But there's so many other things that are going up. For example, I know a lot of working poor people are eating at fast food restaurants because it's what we have to do. Like we're on a lunch break. We're working poor. We don't have a lot of income, and we've got to hit McDonald's or we've got to hit Wendy's or all of these other just like god awful places to eat.
So I have eaten at McDonald's a lot. Like I frequently get a lot of fast food, and I can absolutely tell you that the price of a 4 for 4 is outrageous. Like
what is the price of a 4 for 4? Because it should be $4, right?
Is it, mom? Is the price of a 4 for 4 $4, or is it a 4 for 4 at a $5? It's $5. A 4 for 5? It ain't $4. That's what the point is.
Definitely. Go ahead.
Like I go and I get a sandwich, and it's like I'm spending $7 for just the sandwich, or just $5.17 plus tax for just a sandwich. But if I get a value meal, and we're in the cheap areas in the South and Louisiana, we're in the cheap areas. If you go to New York or somewhere in the East, like the price of a Big Mac can set you back like $10-12 from what I understand.
And this is McDonald's, where you used to be able to get the cheeseburger for $1, and that's what we're going to get into right here, because we're discussing inflation. And like I said, it's impacting working poor people everywhere. In an article published by KTLA 5 News on May 25th, 2024, it states that McDonald's original menu prices have went up due to inflation, which is obvious because they used to be 15-cent hamburgers. But now they're becoming outrageous, like Neil was saying. Here in Downey, California, it's $2.79 for a hamburger, $2.99 for a cheeseburger, and $3.89 for fries. Then in Des Plaines, Illinois, which is a little lower than California, and which is in the same state that I'm living in, it's $1.99 for a hamburger, $2.19 for a cheeseburger, and $3.29 for fries. Then in Stigler, Oklahoma, which is supposed to be the cheapest in the nation, you can get a burger for $1.29, but with cheese it's $1.49, and then a side of fries is $2.29. So, what are we thinking about these McDonald's prices?
Well, that's one expensive slice of cheese. That's for damn sure.
And it's funny, I noticed a big difference between, you said one place was $1.99 hamburger and 20 cents more for cheese. Well, I had $1.99 for a hamburger, but 40 cents more for cheese, $2.39 for a cheeseburger. And I was at McDonald's here in Clinton.
It's unacceptable. We should take our pitchforks We should go have them up. McDonald's CEOs, assholes.
Well, I looked at the cheeseburger at McDonald's was $2.39 here, and the meal, if you add $3.59 for French fries and $1.59 for a medium Coke, medium fries, both, it jumps it up to $8.59. The cheeseburger, medium fries, and a medium Coke cost almost $9. And if you just order a cheeseburger with nothing, it's $2.39.
And do we even eat at McDonald's? Does anybody here actually eat there on a regular basis?
Almost every day.
I have certainly eaten my share of McDonald's, but I don't know if it's because I'm older and I just can't eat that poison anymore, or what. But and it is definitely geared towards poor people. It's convenient, it's easy, it's affordable. But I mean, I get 6 bananas at Walmart for $1.50. I get a can of tuna fish. It's easy to live simply if you can be comfortable doing that. But
that's the thing. It's not as affordable as it used to be at all. Now, when the groceries went up, that was because they started paying farmers more. Farmers said, we need more money. They hadn't had an increase in many, many years. And so they gave them their increase, and that's why our groceries went up, because they started paying farmers closer to what they deserve, And but McDonald's, it's geared toward poor people, but the prices are not. Kind of like telling us we're essential.
Well, you can't get. They still are. I mean, it's their job. It's these corporate monsters' job to squeeze every penny out of you that they can. And it may not be as cheap as it used to be, but where is it cheaper? This is what's available. This is our option. The only way to stop these monsters is to cut the legs out from under them. Start eating bananas. Don't go there. Boycott them.
I'll tell you where it's cheaper, at a diner. You go to a diner.
These people are death merchants. They're death merchants. Sorry.
If you go to a diner, you pay $15, you get 2 meals out of that. It's a big plate of food. You eat half, you take half. That's 2 meals for $15. McDonald's.
I don't know where you're getting that.
What?
I haven't seen 2 meals for $15 in a diner. I don't know where you're getting that.
You're not listening to me. I eat half at the diner,
and
I eat half home. That's 2 meals in one for the price of a McDonald's Big Mac meal.
Yeah. Yep, that's good. And it's healthier, better for you.
At least it's food.
Instead of arguing amongst ourselves, why don't we just literally cut the legs off of the rich people and eat them? I think that would be much more appropriate for the working poor to just eat the rich. Literally, not that figure to eat the rich. I'm talking about literally take. You know what? Nah, I don't want to. Hi, NSA. Please, nothing going on here. Just poor people having a fun conversation. Are they going?
We're not viral yet, Neil. I don't think we've got too many eyes on us.
But he's right. It is what it's going to take, and it is going to come to that. I mean, we are going to end up pulling these people out of their mansions at some point when we're big enough to be able to do that, because you can only squeeze people so much. That's the bottom line.
That is the solution. The solution is ultimately cut them off. Like you said, Dan, start eating bananas, grow your own food. But that's so easy to say, right? But when you're a working poor person, the last thing you want to think about is, oh my God, I'm going to go home and work from my shitty job. I'm going to go home from my shitty 9-to-5 job that, I hate working, that I'm barely struggling to get by. And I'm going to go home and I'm going to work out in the garden, or, I'm going to prepare a meal from scratch. Like, that is all hard to do. And it's
especially if you're working 2 jobs.
And working. Yeah, if you're working multiple jobs, you don't even have time to do that. So it's like the idea of even having a garden today is a privileged thing. And that is so crazy. But you have to have the yard space. You have to have the time to do it. And you have to have the money to keep up with it. If you're going to have fertilizer, if you're going to buy the plants. So it's so easy to say, let's cut off McDonald's. But how many of us depend on these fast food restaurants, whether it's McDonald's or Wendy's or Culver's or
And
whatever.
that's what I'm talking about, the dependency. These monsters that we vilify, that we hate, these corporate giants that whose job it is to squeeze every penny out of us that they can. We're the ones who give them the power. They wouldn't have it if not for us. And it is a dependency. You're right. We depend on these monsters, and there's no way out of it except breaking the cycle. And yeah, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm doing it. There's a lot of people doing it. And I'm not completely doing it. I'm still on the government seat as much as I need to be, But we got to start somewhere.
Well, I don't want to feed into the corporate fat cats, but I'm gonna go get some McDonald's. And
Amir, let
report
us know
back.
how much it costs. Let us know how much it
Definitely.
costs.
Definitely. Are we in Mississippi right now, Mom? Oh, okay. So we must. So we're probably. I believe we might be in Hammond, Louisiana, right now.
Okay.
Nice.
So I definitely
We're getting
let
a
you
real
guys
life,
know for a real life example. And
real
just
time McDonald's
totally
purchase
chance.
here.
Totally chance. We're just getting off the highway and there's a McDonald's very close to us. So
This is not sponsored. We wish it was, so we could pay our bills, but it's not sponsored by McDonald's.
I'd rather be poor, thank you.
So listen, I know we're all upset about McDonald's high prices, but don't worry. Do not worry at all. For the summer, they are introducing a temporary relief for their customers with a $5 meal deal. I don't know how long it's going to last. It will start in June 2024, apparently. So yeah, what are our thoughts on this temporary price relief for the customers?
$5. It's gonna help so many people. Give me a freaking break. Come on.
Well, it's cutting it a lot because a meal costs $13, $15 right now. And $12, $11. It's
But
$5
Cindy,
meal. Hopefully, it will cause people to go there, and then they'll see that you'd serve more customers with $5, and maybe they will lower their prices.
But Cindy,
Hopefully so.
the thing about this is those meals you're talking about are their premium meals. A Big Mac, a quarter pounder, right? Well, if we go back
One was a cheeseburger.
Inflation days, the items that they're including in this $5 meal deal were $1. So these are the items included in this $5 meal deal right here. The $5 meal deal will include a McChicken or a McDouble for the sandwich, a 4-piece chicken nugget, fries, and a choice of drink. All of those items used to be $1. And I am sick and fucking tired of these corporations saying we're going to give you temporary relief on items that only cost $1. And they're still making record profits, and they're charging inflation, and they're trying to say, here's a temporary relief with a $5 meal deal. And it's not including the Big Mac, Cindy. It's not including the quarter pounder.
Not even a cheeseburger.
First of all, it's not a relief.
Simple cheeseburger.
It's not a relief. It's not a relief. That's marketing talk. These people, they spend millions of dollars researching this whole thing and figured out they're going to lose too many customers unless they come up with something that people can afford. And that's why they did it. The goal is still to squeeze every penny out of every customer.
These items should cost $1. A McDouble should cost $1. It's not a relief plan. You're completely right.
And it's not up to you how much they cost. McDonald's is a business. It's the same reason small businesses get priced out. McDonald's can charge whatever the fuck they want. It's their business. That's the bottom line.
But I don't. It's not right. And I'm a firm believer that when these businesses come out and they raise prices during a time of where the country is at an economic unrest, like a time during COVID, and they're hitting people with inflation when they are bringing in record profits. That's what's causing, well, you're right, Dan, that's what's causing these small businesses to not even be able to compete with them. So it's my
Yep.
opinion that when these businesses do it, then we have to come out as a government and we have to hit them with fines and we have to hit them with penalties for doing this. I don't believe that McDonald's can go and charge whatever it wants for a cheeseburger. It'd be fine if it wasn't such monopoly, but it's a huge monopoly on the whole restaurant industry, and it makes it to where small businesses can't compete because they're setting precedent. When Walmart and McDonald's raise their prices, it sets precedent, and it fucks up our entire economy, and that should be illegal. That's my
Austin,
opinion.
monopoly is what runs this country. This
And
is a
you need to stop it.
corporatocracy. Well, you have to. How are you going to take the government back? They own it. They own the government. You literally have to tear the whole thing down.
Well, Dan, isn't that the whole point? Like, completely. But I mean, to sit here and say that McDonald's should be able to charge whatever it wants for a cheeseburger, I don't agree with that. I know this is so funny.
Well, in the meantime,
over this, but it's a working poor.
in the meantime,
we want our
in the meantime, we're in the meantime we're begging our corporate overlords for crumbs. That's what we're doing. We're living in the Middle Ages. Nothing different.
Right? No, I don't want to do that though. I want to
That's what we're
tax
doing.
and fine. I want to fine McDonald's when it does this, when it's raising prices amid a pandemic. When they're bringing in record profits, they should be fined heavily. I don't even want to
Right.
tax them through the roof.
Shit,
but
don't
we
just
should
stop at
just fine them
McDonald's.
for
Do
shit
do
like
Walmart.
this.
Don't just stop at McDonald's. Do Walmart. Do all the big conglomerates that are raising prices, even though inflation is rising, and they're making a profit and buying back their own stock.
That's what I'm saying, Neil.
That's it. That's your only power is to boycott, like Dan said, and not.
I don't.
But then if you
I don't think I can
go-
boycott if I could.
Exactly.
I don't think.
Well,
I
and
don't
they
think I
know
can
that, Neil.
boycott,
They got you by the balls. The
I mean,
problem is the
Subway's supposed to
dependency.
serve healthy food. The only power we have is to not pay their prices, not to go there. However, when you're working 2 and 3 jobs, as the working poor are, you need fast food. You're eating on the run. What are you going to do? You're going to grab a bag of potato chips and keep them in the car with you on the road in order to
It's not
avoid,
failing.
patronizing McDonald's or whatever. Wendy's, Taco Bell, they're all the same. They're all fast food and they're all garbage. So then we had Subway that came in for a healthy alternative that's quick, right? It's not. I mean, yes, exactly. It's sandwiches. It's deli meat. I don't care if it's boar's head or not. It's still deli meat, full of sodium, full of any other chemicals that they put in there. So in order to boycott this, like, where do you go? Grow carrots? I live in an apartment complex with no yard. I can't grow carrots. I could grow carrots in a pot in my apartment. That's pretty limiting. I don't have yard space for any kind of garden.
Well, I would divest from McDonald's, but speak of the devil, there it is. Okay, so what were you talking about? Divestment. Oh, I got my burger.
Oh, this is the
thank
working
you.
poor.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's your bill there? How much?
Is my barbecue in there?
What'd you get and how much did you pay, Neil?
Hold on,
Oh,
I gotta
you
make
know-
sure that they got my order right. First world problems. Okay.
What did you get and how much did you pay?
Oh, they have this, but there's no price on it. Just the item name.
I'm sure it was $50. I'm sure it was $50.
Ah, there it is. Okay. Here in Louisiana. Okay, so bacon McDouble is $3.69. $3.69. Yeah, that sounds about right. So almost $4. This is not worth $4. Okay. And a 10-piece chicken McNugget is $4.99. With one fry, one medium French fry, a bacon McDouble, and the 29-cent bacon McDouble, we spent $13.26.
which would have been five. That's a $5 meal deal. Should have been, like
Maybe
Too much.
at most $8, but not 13.
it's
I used
fucking
to be able to get
McDonald's.
a Big Mac meal for $5.
But I guess like most working poor people would think, I'm just blessed to be able to go out and get fast food. Fuck it.
Blessed to be able to fucking get McDonald's when that used to it used to be cheaper to eat at McDonald's than to like cook your own food at home, and now
I
that's
can-
just
Yeah.
not the case.
Now I can go make a whole damn gumbo for cheaper. Well, not really, but enough.
Dan, did you want to chime in on this whole?
The only thing I want to say is that you're trying to beat these guys at their own game, or you're begging. I equate it to begging for crumbs. All over this country that I've been, they're all in all kinds of towns, all different sizes. They have community co-ops, which is a bunch of people in the community pool their resources. They get a space and they create a supermarket, and everybody wants to be a member. You put in 4 or 6 hours a week, whatever, to keep the place running, and it's a worker-owned supermarket, and we can do that with all of our businesses. We have to change the rules of the game, or we're not going to get anywhere. These people run the whole show. We're begging for crumbs. Any relief they give us is just prolongs the problem.
I absolutely agree.
I agree too, Dan, and I'm all for the revolution. And like I said, I want to find these businesses.
These businesses, they're happening now. This is a thing. People do this. It's not about revolution. It's not about tearing it all down. It's about making what exists obsolete. Buckminster Fuller said that. You don't fight something.
Dan, I completely get that. And what I'm trying to say is that I'm all for that. And I shop at the neighborhood co-op, shout out, here in Carbondale, Illinois, where I am a co-owner, where I, pay, I have to pay $100 to be a member there. You don't have to be a co-owner to shop there, but you get like little perks here and there. But Dan, the prices to shop there, and let me get through this, are expensive. Okay. And as a working poor person, I can barely afford to shop there. I love knowing I'm buying locally, and we're going to talk about buying locally here in a second. And I love knowing I'm doing that. And the food is better. I love it. I can't afford to do it all the time. Hold on, Dan. So I'm all for the revolution, and I want to do this. But what I'm sick and tired of is that working poor people are always having to lead the revolution. We can't fucking afford to do it. I can't afford to stop shopping at Walmart. People can't afford to stop shopping at Aldi. I love the co-op. I can't shop there religiously. I can't afford it. I love the idea of let's start this revolution, but not everybody's on board. It would require everybody getting on board. And why do working poor people have to be the first ones to do it? So that's where I think, yes, I want food to be more locally sourced. I want it to be affordable for people. And that's what I'm thinking the way to do this, instead of me having to take my whole paycheck to get a third of the groceries I'd get at Walmart and go to the co-op, why don't we find these corporations? Over in Europe, they have more sanctions on their businesses to where McDonald's isn't just serving processed bullshit over in Europe. It's a lot less processed even over there. Their food on the shelves, their bread expires in a week in Europe because they have sanctions and restrictions on their businesses. So it does work, Dan, but we're not implementing it over here. And I'm all for let's shop at the co-op. But to do that, we have to stop McDonald's and Walmart from having a monopoly and setting precedent when they raise prices on $1 cheeseburger or $1 loaf of bread. That's what's fucking the economy, in my opinion. Go ahead.
But again, it's because those companies own our government. There's nothing you can do. You're fighting you can't win this battle. And as far as the co-ops go, why do you think they're more expensive? That's the question we have to ask. The Walmarts and the big box stores have low prices because they buy in bulk. So it has to be collective. The only way we're going to do this is together. Everybody's got to do it together so that we have purchase power in this system that we have. But you're never going to win if you're trying to get the government to. This is where they get their money from these people. How are they going to regulate them? Impossible. The most you do is get a $5 deal for a month and say, "Look how altruistic we are." It's a big joke.
And that's why I think slap the fucking fines, restrictions. I know our government is so corrupt, Dan, but Europe, they're doing it. Like I said, their food is less processed over there. Just in general, around the board, at McDonald's, on the shelves.
But why, Austin? You have to ask why. Because they have regulations there.
I get that.
Exactly. Exactly. So how are you going to fight them?
So I'm going to go into debt and I'm going to go broke to get my weekly groceries, Dan. So that's, and I completely understand, but I think that's where people are at a loss. Like both arguments here, I think.
Not everybody can do what I'm doing. I understand that, but nothing's going to change until we learn how to stop being consumers for this gluttonous economy. They're going to squeeze everything out of us.
And I completely agree. And I think I think ultimately, right, like we're all wanting that same thing. It's just like people, and this is just a very real conversation. People, working poor people, everyday people today are stuck with what can I do? You know, I can't afford to shop locally. The corporations are raising their prices. And we've got some more numbers here just to fly through this because we spent so much time already. But Target, Walmart, and other chains are rolling out temporary price relief as well. Some of it is permanent. Most of it's probably temporary. I'm saying most of it just as my own opinion, but it is stated that some permanent, others temporary, with the stated aim of giving their customers some relief. The latest quarterly earnings from these large businesses are showing that people are becoming more price conscious and choosy. They're delaying purchases, focusing on store brands, generic brands, compared to typically more expensive national brands, and looking for deals. This month, Walmart expanded price rollbacks to nearly 7,000 grocery items, a 45% increase. Examples include, so get this, guys, they've lowered a thing of Bush's baked beans, 28 ounces, from $2.48 to $2.22. A Diet Coke 24-pack of 12-ounce cans is now $12.78, rolled back from $14.28. And then last week, Target reduced prices on 1,500 items, with plans to cut prices on another 3,500 items this summer. The examples include Clorox scented wipes reduced from $5.79 to $4.99, and Huggies baby wipes reduced from $1.19 to 99 cents. I want to open the discussion here. Before I do that, I want to make a point stating that these Huggies baby wipes are only a 16-pack. So these were probably, the 16-pack was probably already $1, but it probably was 85 cents, before COVID. And now they're lowering it back to $1 and acting like it's a price reduction, which it's obviously not.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Some of these things you're saying went down 20 cents and most $2. Like, these aren't savings. These are like one went from like $1.19 to 99 cents. It's like another 20. So they're dropping shit like 20 cents to $1, and just they're saying, "Oh, look, we're slashing prices on shit." Oh shit.
That's not helping working poor people.
And then they're temporary, and then they're not. And then I would love to see somebody see what the ratio of items that they're actually dropping as compared to what these stores actually sell. Because I promise you, it's less than 15%.
It's predatory. It's literally predatory because they're doing this, saying it's temporary, under the idea of luring customers that they've lost due to price inflation. They're luring them back in to give them this temporary relief that they're once again going to raise the prices on. So it's just like a bait and switch situation. And people are going to take it. Like, the sad thing is working poor people are going to take it. And Dan, I want to hear your thoughts on this, especially because it just kind of continues for what we were saying. But, you know, Dan, when you hear these prices being reduced in such low numbers, but knowing that, God, 20 cents does add up here and there, and working poor people are going to hear that and they might go back to Walmart. What are we supposed to do in that situation, Dan? Or what are people supposed to do?
There's an easy way to fix this problem. In addition to listing the price of an item, they also have to list the cost and everything that goes into it, and their net profit on every item. And that way you know what you're buying. You know what you're putting in the owner's pocket and what you're really getting value for.
Yeah.
How about that?
They won't do that.
Yeah.
Macy's is a store I can never afford. I don't even walk in there because the prices don't change anytime I do. But some people do. Some people love Macy's and go shopping there. And they have a 400% markup. That's why people go there during their sales and buy a $700 sweater for $100. I would rather not shop in some place that has a sweater for $700. Even if I could afford it,
Sandy,
I don't care.
funny you mentioned Macy's because that's actually where I got my shoes. I got them by clearance. They're like $199 shoes. I got for $20 at Macy's
Exactly.
for a Macy's sale.
If they can afford to do those kind of sales, they can afford Walmart prices at Macy's. That's what irritates me about those kind of stores. And I mean, it's like the housing situation. We at one point had, and we might still have, more empty houses than we do homeless people. There's a solution, but they don't want to fix it. So they're not going to fix their prices. They're not, as long as they can extort, they can exploit us any way they can, and they do. That's their job, to keep us down, to keep everybody down, to keep the homeless. They can fix the homeless situation. They don't. They leave it up to us to take care of.
Oh, we'll talk about the homeless situation, Cindy.
Poverty is always a policy choice. Always a policy choice. Your poverty does not need to exist.
Right.
Completely.
That's what I'm talking about.
What'd you say?
Dan said poverty doesn't need to exist, and I said, right. That's what I'm talking about.
Love it.
It's a policy choice. Yes. Poverty is a policy choice.
I've never heard. I love that one. That one is that makes so much sense when you say it like that.
Capitalism is based on competition, and they're competing and killing us in the process.
And someone's got to be on the bottom.
Yes.
And that's how I was raised. I was always raised, well, there's always going to be poor people, you know? What can you do? It's like, hello? Why is that okay? Doesn't have to be that way.
No, especially with technology. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yep. We live in a post-scarcity world, and that's what scares them more than anything.
Yes.
Up until now, we were competing over resources. We needed to be able to survive. But that's not the case anymore. Technology. Yep.
Even the way we get our news is scaring the establishment because now everybody's getting their news off of YouTube and podcasts. Back in the day, you get your news from one of the main four.
But we thought it was more trustworthy than it was too. We thought mainstream media was trustworthy, and it's not. And it's worked now since the 90s.
It's hard to believe one point Americans trusted their government.
Yeah.
I think it turned around when our government killed our president. I think that's when things changed here.
I mean, God, has the United States government ever been trustworthy or
I don't know.
like for the people realistically? And so, and this is a conversation that will be good on another episode, but we'll just keep trudging through here. Is there anything that you know from your daily routine that you've had to stop buying due to inflation? Something that's just gotten so expensive, or you don't shop anywhere now because it's so expensive?
These
You're
things.
still smoking cigarettes, Dan, I see, even though
Yeah,
the price.
I can't afford to though.
I switched to a cheaper brand because I still have to afford my addiction for now.
So you're smoking
Dependency,
cheaper
that's
brand
how they-
cigarettes.
It's no different than McDonald's. They want us dependent on everything, on our Netflix, on our McDonald's, on our cigarettes, on our alcohol, all of it. They want us hooked.
Yeah.
So for our next article here, I have an article published by Scary Mommy on December 8th, 2020. It's not a news website. It's very much a personal narrative.
I was gonna say she sounds like a credible source.
Ooh, Scary Mommy. I know, like, we only use credible sources here on the Working Poor People. So we've talked a little bit about this, but this article, it really just goes into the idea of working poor families not being able to afford to shop locally. And we've kind of just already talked about this ourselves, so I don't feel the need to go through every point on here. But I just want to bring up that discussion before we move on. Because working poor people do depend on the lower prices of corporations like Walmart. So I just want to, as like a ratio of how much you shop locally versus what you buy at bigger stores, what would you say the percentage is there for each of us? Like for instance, for me, I would say that 90% of my purchases are at large corporations. And I hate to say that, but that's just what I can afford. And I usually shop at Walmart for most of my things. So I will say 90% is money that I spend at corporations versus 10% at local businesses. Cindy, what about you?
During COVID, I was afraid of the big businesses and did all my shopping at the small little stores like Rite Aid, the little food store in town, just because I didn't want to be around a large amount of people. That was during COVID. And since then, I kind of don't shop at all. I was doing a lot of shop from home at ShopRite, where I didn't have to go there at all. And I would just go and pick up my groceries, which ShopRite likes. But lately I don't shop at all. I get takeout and, go to a diner, eat 2 meals out of one, things like that.
So you do shop?
Well, I would shop monthly. I used to shop monthly and buy, spend $200 and
you just don't shop in person, Cindy. But at first I was thinking, well, you don't buy anything, but you don't shop in person, so you're like an online shopper. Is that what you would say? Or
I was an online shopper, but now I kind of don't shop at all.
Well, where do you get your things?
I know, and I go to the little deli and I'll get just the bare necessities, a loaf of bread.
You get a lot of your meals come from work too. They don't know that.
Yes, that's true. Anything that there's extras that they're gonna throw away.
Oh, is she a vampire? She doesn't shop. She eats at work. Oh.
Take too much food, they're gonna throw it out, and they will offer. You can't imagine how much food gets thrown away at where I work.
I can imagine.
And I don't like wasting food. You know,
I have dumpster dive. I have had to dumpster dive before. Believe me, I know.
It's the same thing where I work. They prepare the kids' lunches and everything, and usually it's just the same bullshit every day. You know, turkey sandwiches or warm, heated up roast beef sandwiches, like cold deli meat that they heat up on a griddle with cheese on white bread. Oh my God, it makes me want to throw up thinking about it. But there's so much just waste. And there is this one teacher's assistant that's in my room that takes home all of the leftovers. So it does go to good use. But I'm thinking, oh my God, could you imagine just, because I'm sure he just lives on it. But there is so much waste there.
The extras at my place, it's good food. It's good homemade food.
I'm glad.
And it you know, they give it to the kitchen staff, which is great. They deserve it. But if there's any leftover from the kitchen staff, all that food, they cannot put out the next day. They can't, once it's out of the kitchen, the law is you cannot reuse it. You can't bring it back in the kitchen and reserve it. So it's waste, because who knows how many muffins these people are going to eat that morning. It's all just guesswork.
You see so much on TikTok now, and this is why social media is good. This is one of like the positive things about social media, is that we get to see how much food waste there is out there now. You'll see like workers at Dunkin' Donuts having to dump out all of these hundreds of donuts, it seems like, at the end of the night because they can't donate them. They can't even take them home. And that's another thing. Like, that's where I'm thinking more sanctions on the corporations. We need to have our government mandate, if these corporations have leftover food, they have to either donate it to their employees or they have to donate it to the homeless shelters. Like, this is freaking insane. Like, that should be straight up illegal off the bat.
Well, they should be donating it to homeless shelters. They should be. I mean, like I said, we have the resources to house all of the homeless people. We have more empty buildings in this country than we do homeless people. That's not rocket science. Fix that.
I mean, it shocks me that even the workers can't take home food after a shift. That genuinely shocks me, because some places can be left with 41%, 41% of their whole food, and they just got thrown away. It's like, you can't even give it to the workers, especially in California. California, that's one place where they have a massive homeless problem, and even the workers can't bring home the food or anything like that after they're done. They just throw it away, and they lock up the dumpsters behind
And do you know the reason why? Because they don't want the workers overproducing and then getting free food.
Yep.
Well, completely. They don't want to end the homeless problem. They don't want to end the hunger problem. They don't want to give their food out for free. They're greedy. They're large corporations. Completely. But that's why we have to not allow these things to happen.
There was never a there was never a labor problem. It was a wage problem. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't a worker shortage. It wasn't a labor shortage. It was a wage shortage. Don't tell us we're essential workers and then pay us peanuts. If we're that essential, show us. You know? And in a clothing store, you walk into a clothing store and all of those clothes, they're on a clearance rack because they didn't sell. You know how many homeless people that could clothe? I mean, we have the resources. We'd rather throw them away in the garbage and then stop the homeless from getting their share, because they'll be arrested if they're found, stealing from a dumpster. It's just messed up all over the place. The priorities
and that's where I think we need to take a stand at. Like, if you're working at a Dunkin' Donuts, if you're working at a McDonald's, stop throwing the food away. Just fucking take it home. Donate it. We can't. I can't afford to. Stop.
And you will.
But steal the fucking food. Don't report it. Fucking take it home.
You will get fired for it. There's cameras everywhere now. That is stealing.
Right.
Completely. But that's as much as, it's the same thing though, Dana, saying, go spend your whole paycheck at a local grocery store, so it's an impossible situation everywhere. Whether you take the food home, whether you shop local, like it seems like every which way we come back, the working poor are fucked. It doesn't matter what we do, like the system just has to fail. And it is.
But it's
It
it
is.
seems like the solutions that you call for are for the government to come help us. But you keep forgetting who runs the government.
And we
This
need
doesn't
to
work
run the
that way.
government. We have to run
We
the
don't.
government, though. We have to take it back. The working poor. And not in the January 6th fashion.
Well, it's not going to happen in the voting booth. I'll tell you that. they
God, I'm
typed
not
that.
Well,
voting.
we might have